Now, I think that we can all pretty much agree on the fact that Disney lately has made a sudden change in their live-action remakes from the animated source material, really taking away from said source material and approaching something new. This is basically going to be the new Disney norm on exactly what they're about to do with live-action remakes, and it all begins with Snow White 2024. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on with the Snow White trailer that's all set and ready to be released still to this day at this year's D23 event. Now, one thing about the trailer is that we know that Disney hired a new trailer company, or companies, as they have two of them working on this actual footage that is to be presented next month. Basically what happened, and we talked about this before in the past, that they did fire the previous trailer company that was handling this, to have somebody that would have a better understanding of mixing the scenes together, the music, the dialogue, etc., to properly market this thing as they are heading into full-on damage control. And so far, things really are not looking up for Disney right now, especially with said footage that is not yet complete, but that it is set to drop at D23. Now, what's intriguing about all of this is that we know that Snow White 2024 is already dead on arrival. I think that we can all pretty much agree on the fact that this movie is not going to do well, based on Rachel Zegler's past comments, based on the leaked photographs of the 7 dwarfs, and as well as what Bob Iger said about this movie and how it really is going to be the most diverse Disney live-action remake yet, and how it is going to be a reimagining of the film. So, moving onwards, with Disney now attempting to tame the backlash for the Snow White movie, however, one significant update has much to do with the plan for the upcoming trailer to be displayed at this year's event called D23 that's being crafted under a new trailer company that Disney hired some weeks ago. One crucial description of what's about to be displayed at this year's event for the Snow White trailer involves the opening shot for the footage that reportedly establishes a scene in which Snow White is actually seen looking at herself in a regular mirror with a voiceover of her father named King White, giving her a lesson to become a strong leader and to rise against her fears and to become the leader that she needs to become. The following shot transitions to a moment where in the distance, the 7 dwarfs, or in this case called the magical creatures, are seen all holding hands and dancing in a circle around a fire at night, singing a song. Over this shot, the magic mirror's voice can be heard that sounds like a distorted female voice. The shot of the dwarfs are described to be a victory celebration and most likely related to past leaks discussed of the shot moments after the evil queen meets her demise when they celebrate. Now, let me pause here for one moment, guys, before I get to the next big piece about this, is that I think that Disney realizes that they have no idea what they're doing with this trailer. So far, from what it sounds like, it's a big mess. They're teasing moments at the very end of the movie. They're giving us, of course, a setup for King White, already establishing that she is going to be this strong, powerful female warrior in this movie, a strong leader, if you will. And look, as I said in my previous video, I have no problem with powerful women. I don't. You know, we have Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley. I mean, even Atomic Blonde, great film by Charlize Theron. Very good movie. Those are just a few examples, but when you have movies by Disney that take the source material and they flip it upside down, that's when I, and I'm sure a lot of you out there, begin to have a big problem with this. Now, so far, this sounds very cheesy, it sounds very deliberate, and it just sounds very forced to deliver a specific storyline for this film's reimagining. Not only do the 7 dwarfs come across as very much B-movie level, but we also know the fact of what they look like based on those leaked photographs. It's not going to be good. I mean, I think that's just a given. The fact that the description of the magic mirror's voice being displayed as a distorted female voice that has a very low frequency sound to it kind of sounds like what they're going for. They're trying to keep the character quite mysterious, and we talked about past leaks that Apparently, basically, it's going to be Snow White's mother, trapped inside a mirror dimension with her consciousness erased. Disney wants to essentially cancel that idea. They shot several scenes of the identity to be revealed of the magic mirror, so it shall be interesting to see what the final touch is going to be like. Moving on. Now, another scene later on in the planned footage to be presented at D23 involves a glimpse of the old hag, portrayed by Gal Gadot. And, of course, how she has a hood over her head, where in the trailer that only teases the makeup work at this point of the old hag. Another shot focuses on Snow White in a cabin. This is where things get a little odd, where she appears to be playing a violin along with the dwarfs, who are actually playing other instruments like drums, flutes, and bongos, like, of course, instruments on their beds. A brief segment of this song can be heard in the background in the current cut of the trailer that is still not yet finished. And the worst of all, additionally, one other shot features Andrew Burnap's Jonathan, who is basically the new Prince Charming, who's not really a Prince Charming, but I digress, where he is singing a short series of lyrics about being a hopeless romantic at one point that is only briefly heard. The trailer reportedly has mixtures of short examples of multiple songs to be presented. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the fact that they have the male character singing about being a hopeless romantic seems very odd to me and very Disney, where they just want to really bring the male heroes, down to a bare minimum. I mean, it's pretty deliberate at this point of what Bob Iger and the Disney board are doing with these said live-action remakes. Now look, like I said before in the past, I think that everything related to this film is going to be a disaster, and it's not just because, and I cannot stress this enough, it's not just because over the fact of that they are taking away the source material. It also has to do with what they did with the Seven Dwarfs, as well as what they are currently doing with reimagining this story from the ground up. Where initially, back in 2019, right when they were starting to work on this film in the early development phase, Bob Iger promised to Disney fans, even to just Snow White fans, that this was going to be a love letter to the 1937 film. It was going to be a beat-for-beat remake. That was a total lie, and completely changed when Bob Chapek took over, from the era of 2020 leading into the rest of 21 and 22. And so, I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of problems arising out of this. The fact that we have all these different sequences that just seem scrambled, and how it's basically going to be a sample of multiple songs that are to be displayed in Snow White 24. It sounds like, and call me crazy, it sounds like Snow White is going to be a musical at this point. I don't know about you guys, but the amount of songs that are going into this thing, and that are also getting canceled and or remixed or reworked eventually, it sounds like that this movie is going to be a musical, and nobody wants to see a musical about Snow White, especially if it's going to be a disastrous film such as this one. So, anyway, I would love to hear what your take is on this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.